Hello friends, namaste. Welcome back to my channel, all of you. Today let's discuss about the basics of operating assets. What type of asset would be called as operating assets? What are the basic types of operating assets? Then I will be discussing about the acquisition cost, which are the basics for finding the depreciation charges. And then lastly I will be discussing about the depreciation and accumulated depreciations. In last session I discussed about how we calculate the used value of the assets, that is the book value, I mean to say that. Now when we say the operating assets, the assets which are used for the business and which is basically the long term in nature, which are not held for resale purpose, then that could be understood as operating assets. For example, school या university purchase the bus for office use, then could be the example of operating asset. But at the same time, when you are purchasing the car for your just personal use, then this will not be the example of operating asset. Rather, it would be non-operating assets. Okay, those assets which simply contribute towards your business profitability, then that could be termed as operating assets. Now, what are the basic types of operating assets? First one is called, we see the tangible. Next one is that intangible. Under tangible is like a property, plant, equipment, natural resources. But you have to understand this one is that, like in case of land, there will be no depreciation, while for plant and equipment we have a depreciations. For natural resources we see that is a depletion charge. In case of intangible assets, for example, trade, patents, franchise rights, copyright, goodwill, which do not have the physical existence as tangible assets would have. Okay, so important point is that for example, when we have a limited life of intangible assets, then like for 5 years you are using the patent right, okay, then you have to pay the amortization expenses for that one. That need to be amortized over the your life of the intangible assets. Okay, but if we don't have the fixed period of intangible assets, in that case we don't have amortization. Okay, now what about the acquisition cost? Acquisition cost simply like Dabur Nepal purchase the one equipment and importing from India to Nepal, then in that case purchase, yeah, whatever the price paid by Dabur Nepal to the seller, that is the purchase price. And next one is that all the expenditure needed to prepare for assets for its intended use. For example, there might be the transportation charges, there might be the other installation charges. Then since these expenses would be the part of the value of machine, so this will be, both would be the part of acquisition cost. However, remember, acquisition cost never, yeah, consider financing charges like payment of interest, payment of dividend to the shareholders, yeah, providing the cash discount to the consumer. Even though this, if this your financing charges, yeah, cash discounts are given, this will not be taken into account while finding acquisition cost. Okay, now what about the depreciation expenses? When we say depreciation, this is the reduction in the value of the assets because of changes in time, yeah, because of use. Sometime even though you are not using the assets, because of changes in technology, because of innovations, the value of the asset will decline. Okay, that term is known as depreciations. Now next one is that acquisition cost, as I discussed earlier, is noted by V, and based on this you would calculate the depreciation expenses, which under income statement we say is under the non-cash expenses is the depreciations, while in case of profit and loss account, it's simply because of being expenses it will be debited. While what about the accumulated depreciation? For example, you purchase the machine for 1 lakh and whose life is 10 years, and 10% reduction in the value of the machine each year. So if you have used for 4 years, then that is 10% of 1 lakh would be the 10,000 depreciation into 4. So I mean to say that depreciation expenses annual into time period is known as is the accumulated depreciation, but this will be reported under the balance sheet. Under balance sheet, what do you do? That's use for example 1 lakh value of the any assets, then is say the equipment 1 lakh value less accumulated depreciation is the 40,000. So you would have the book value is here, 60,000 would be. Now next question is that when you are asked to find the what will be the depreciation to be written off during the life of the assets, then in that case total cost plus transportation and erection charges, that is the V, that is acquisition cost. Okay. Now if there is a scrap value means for example you purchase the machine, then at the end of the year what value you could realize, that is called scrap value or salvage value. This is the cash inflow for the company. Okay. Now B minus S is known as total amount of depreciations to be written off during the year. Simply when you are using a straight line approach, what we do, we simply total amount of depreciation to be written off during the life of its useful life divided by B minus S by N, we do it. Okay friends, today we just discuss about the basic of meaning and the types of operating assets. Next one I discuss about the acquisition cost, and the lastly I discuss about the depreciation and again accumulated depreciations, and I just simply discuss about its concept. I hope that whatever we discussed today, which would capitalize your understanding level of your depreciations, yeah, basic of operating assets. Okay friends, these are the things that I would like to say today. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, and also share this channel. Thank you all of you for watching this video. Please take care.